What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe. Thanks for coming back. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully you guys are having an awesome day, taking care of yourselves spiritually, physically, and emotionally, following through on your hobbies and your goals and dreams, and as always, continuing to question the universe. Today, we have to continue questioning the universe. We're going to talk about a really, really cool whistleblower, brand new one, off of one of the brand new episodes on Gaia. Her name is Victoria Whitney. She speaks with Emery Smith about her encounter with some aliens that showed her the future that Earth needs to move towards in creating an off-planet biosphere. So who is Victoria Whitney? Victoria Whitney worked for the Department of Defense. She's a doctor of science, and she retired from the Navy, worked as an environmental engineer, a scientist in special programs and projects, and she's an expert in extraterrestrial and crash retrieval. So today they're talking about her first experience with these extraterrestrials. This is really cool because this story not only does it bring in new aliens into our discussion, but it also brings in a whole new future that Earth needs to move towards. Obviously, we know Musk has talked about this, and other scientists have talked about this, even though Musk isn't. I don't think he's officially a scientist, but he did create SpaceX. Is that we can't stay here. We got to get off this planet. This planet will eventually die. The only way for a species to continue to live is to continue to grow, which means we have to get off the planet. Does it sound nihilistic, and does it sound like we're treating the planet like crap? Well, we already know we are. Can we save it? Possibly. But even if we do save it, we know we have to be able to get off the planet to continue to exist. Whether it's a solar explosion, whether it's a meteor that crashes into Earth, whatever the reason is, we have to have an escape plan. And so these beings come to her, and specifically her, because apparently she has what's called the gold frequency, according to these aliens, and they want to tell her about it so that she can continue the telephone game to tell the higher ups and everybody else. So she starts off her story with saying that she was working at a shipyard, and they watched for 42 minutes while a huge black triangular ship went over the entire shipyard and was monitoring these huge ships that would go off to sea for the Navy. This ship had a huge 3 lights on each corner and a huge circle in the middle of the craft. She saw portholes on the side of the craft and saw beings inside these portholes. They were not humans. That's how close it was to the craft that she was on. It had symbols on the side that looked like hieroglyphics. It was not like any language that we had on planet Earth. Even security came. Security was mind-boggled by this particular event. They had no clue what to do, but she stated it was there for 42 freaking minutes. 42 freaking minutes! How come they didn't send in F-16s? How come they didn't send in somebody else? Maybe these guys were working with our government. Who knows? But there's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't have sent something up. But this thing was clearly scanning for something. She thinks it was scanning for nuclear-type material, since these ships did have nuclear material on them. They're nuclear-powered, a lot of them. And she had no idea what was going on. But she said there was about 15 of these 15 witnesses to this craft. They had no idea what was going on or why it was happening, but security did show up. Then they said to everyone that was a witness, don't tell anybody about this. They had them sign NDAs, and that was about it. Now, her contact, she stated it was in 2009. She was in Washington, D.C. for work, and she was walking back from the Norfolk shipyard. She stated 2 beings just appeared right in front of her, just materialized, and they explained to her telepathically that they were Pleiadians and that they were there to show her something very important. And then one of them put their hand on her shoulder, and the next thing she knew, she was standing in front of a building. She was immediately transported. She didn't know where she was at all. She said they were brick buildings with glass on the front of it. She stated they went inside. It was very sterile inside. And the telepathic communication continued. She stated that one of the individuals told her his name was like Makwa or something like that. And they walked into the lobby area. This thing was like, looked like an angel. It was like huge, tall, like 7 foot tall, very white, very like chalky white. And they walked into kind of like the atrium, the entryway. And as they walked in, she started to notice something. She started to notice this wasn't like any other place that she had ever been. And it didn't look like she was on Earth. So when they went into this building, she stated they got out onto the floor and there were glass panels everywhere. It was like an interactive typing screen, she stated. One of them had different pictures from all over the world on it. One of them had what she would call chemical formulas on it. And there were different languages written on some of these boards. Some of them you could see active movement. And they walked down a huge hall. And the only thing that was in the room that she could see in one room was a lounge chair. And she stated when she sat on the chair, they put a halo around her head. And this halo wasn't uncomfortable. She felt pretty comfortable. The chair looks really kind of a relaxing type chair, kind of like a recliner. So they put this thing on, and she stated she stated when she sat in it, it felt like a cocoon. It was very kind of like memory foam, very comforting. And then basically kind of like a blanket covered her. It's kind of interesting. And she said the halo piece went around her head, and the whole time she could see everything around the room. And he explained what was going to happen next. He said, I'm going to take you on a trip. This part is very important. This is our future. The next thing she knew, they were in the cosmos. And she looked out and she stated it was awe-inspiring. You know, he showed her the Pegasus galaxy in constellation. And he said, that's where we're going to go. And they showed her other constellations as well so she could have a frame of reference. And so they went to the Pegasus constellation, she said, and they were there in no time whatsoever. It took like 1 minute to get there. And when they got there, they approached this large planet. Well, that she thought was a planet, but she said it wasn't a planet. It was a creation. He said this is the Omicron Commonwealth. The Omicron Commonwealth. That's really, really interesting. Really interesting, because I'd never heard of that before. It was an entire biosphere. It was basically like an entire planet within a circle. Okay, if you think about that. He said this is the future that has to happen. And she stated there's no time frame for this whatsoever. But they have some pictures on here. It's very beautiful. It has lots of levels, like dozens and dozens and dozens of levels to it. Like a huge mall almost, but with forests in the middle and walking areas and parks and buildings. And he said, I'm going to take you inside. And when they went inside, the people that were in there could not see them, but they could see everything. There was like floating islands in there. She said what really sunk in with her was their 12-year-old grandson was sitting at a console, and he was the security officer for this biosphere. So what this individual was doing was showing her the future of this planet, or at least some of the people, I should say, of this planet, getting to go to the Omicron Commonwealth and interact with it. So he was a security officer for the biosphere in the future. And then she said they went down to the med bay, and her daughter, who was 8, was also working at the med bay. So there was some context for her now. And she said, this is real. And apparently, you know, her lineage continues to travel forward 10 to 20 years into the future, she said. But Emery stated, you know, where's Earth in this? And that's what they were expressing to her, was that Earth was lying in the pathway of something that was coming, and that we needed to come together as a planet and stop being so divisive so that we can get together and make sure that the planet's safe and that we can get out of here, basically. So the alien said to her, what are you going to do to help? And so they said, obviously we have technology. We're non-interventionists. We can show you your future. We can give you a path to follow. but we can't do it for you. You have to do it for yourselves. Then they took her from the Pegasus constellation to the Draconian constellation Draco. And when they got there, she said it was very dark. She said there was a lot of what they would call roiling type clouds. It basically looked like the whole place is on fire. And that's what she said. She said, this is the great evil that's coming towards Earth. And she didn't have a time frame or reference either, but they said the Draconians had allied with the serpents and that they wanted to take over the third dimension. Isn't that interesting? We always talk about dimensions, and they want to take over our dimension. So there, it sounds like they're in the middle of some dimensions. But they said that the Omicron constellation wants to stop this, or Commonwealth wants to stop this. So they said that they looked for beings that had the gold frequency here on Earth and around the Earth. She said there's not that many people on the planet that have it. Only 23 people in the United States have it, and 42 people across Europe also had it. So there's not a lot of people that have this at all. So they got to look for special people. They have to be used for this purpose, the Commonwealth's purpose. And that's exactly what they said to her each time they met with her, is that all they had to do was follow the gold frequency to her. And she's like, oh my God, I got to process all this. Holy crap, this is a lot of information. She's got to figure out how to do this. So they started giving her downloads mentally, telepathically, so that if she got off the path of making this happen, they would gently guide her back onto the path. So there was another instance later on where another conclave came from the United. Let's see. I want to make sure I get this right. The United Confederation. Come on. The United Galactic Federation, who has been doing a lot of projects here on Earth, and they basically walked into her business on a Friday night and started to talk to her. The Confederation or the Federation has a group of what they call the planets, and they evolved, and they've had a lot of changes within their system to help them evolve. So they all wore a United Galactic uniform, and some of them were from the Andromeda Council, and some were from other councils and part of this conclave, and worked within science. And so they were trying to help her understand the science of how to make themselves eligible to be in this group, and how to make themselves a higher being, higher scientifically cognizant, both spiritually and scientifically. They stated that there's going to be some neurocognitive and biological upgrades that were going to happen so that they could combat this Draco force that was supposed to be coming. Now, we've heard about this Draco force coming for many years, many decades. And there's some that are already here. There's some that are already, working with the government even, we've heard. We've heard of them haunting people. We've heard of them being these, hellish creatures, or these entities that, have horns, or the hoofed devil man of Missouri, I think it was, we did a podcast about. But basically, what's going to help us, she states, is that there's ancient power sources here that are in the pyramids, in volcanoes, and multiple other locations here on Earth, and they're very interested in that. So not only are they interested in the energy, but they're also interested in helping us neurocognitively in developing our spirituality, as well as our ability to come together as one species. So I'm going to end it there because I want to have a part 2 to this. It's just so long and my voice is already starting to go, I can tell. So I will leave you there, but I will pick it back up with a secondary podcast. So tune in for the second one. Anyway, guys, take care of yourself spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. Thanks for listening. This is really interesting. I want to go more into depth. I'm still getting over this like voice loss thing, so I apologize for a couple of coughs there. So I appreciate your patience. I think that our future does lie off this planet. I think it does lie within creating a biosphere. I think it does involve having freedom, but also social credit, so that we can all help each other and not be working against each other. I think the elimination of money, period, is going to be able to allow us to work together as one, with one purpose and one mind, with still allowing us to have time for our own creative endeavors. And I hope that that happens sooner than later, because right now it seems like we're pretty divided. So take care of yourselves. Don't divide your families. Don't divide yourself amongst all of the crazy stuff that's going out in the world. Take care of your families. Take care of your loved ones. And take care of yourself. All right, guys. Till next time, Lockdown Universe out. Peace.